Hola todos. Hello everyone. Today let's talk about why Chinese is the best language in the world. First question people would like to say, or first challenge people would like to say, because you are Chinese. Sure, of course. It is true. Almost everyone in the world loved their own uh, mother tongue, mother language, and most people, apart from very few people, they hate their own language. But most people, for the nature of human beings' laziness or the happy or conservative, so people always think their own language most. I can't say 100%, but most people think their own language is the best. People you often hear people say, well, the French when I was in China, people used to say, French is such a romantic accent, sounds so beautiful. Uh, so that and yeah, such for the people, and even in the UK, people also believe French is quite a nice and even posh language. It's coming based on many historic reasons, because of royal family connection or this and that reasons. But today, let's discuss why I believe, or we all should think, eventually it will be proved the Chinese is the best language in the world. Okay, let's start now. Okay. First, okay, so the reason I'm saying the Chinese language is the best in the world is based on two sides. So first is efficiency, and second is easy to learn. So apart from all the sentimental feelings, connections, language, it's one of our tools to communicate one of our tools to communicate and to pass the information, to record the information, and yeah, and to deliver the information. Uh, so, of course, as a tool, efficiency and easy learn to use, same as the computer, iPad, iPhone, we are using whichever is more efficient, whichever is easier to use, it will become popular. Okay, let's see why the Chinese is so efficient, beat all the other language in efficiency. Right. Okay. So first, A, the in terms of reading and writing. So Chinese, as everyone knows, you can see here, it's very short. Right. Okay. Short is that's a how in Chinese. Here is good in English. As you can see, it's much shorter. Uh, this is just one simple word, but some people might give another example. For example, say "yin," right, which is very short in English, but in Chinese it's also short in there. It's say "zai," but right, okay. Overall, why it's so short? Let's do a very simple comparison. Okay, now let's come to BBC. This is a BBC News website. I just randomly pick up this one news report. I just copy, paste this one, go to the Google Translator, then I will paste into here. Right, okay. So this side is English, and this side on the right hand side is Chinese. Okay, voila, the translate has already done. So you can see, let's see. So English, the first paragraph is 3 lines. So Chinese is only 2 lines. And also remember, Google Translate is just basically based on the words by words. It's not really 100%. It's quite good, I have to say. Google Translate have done a very good job, but it's not the most efficient way to translate. If it's a Chinese, if I need to translate, it will be even shorter. not so much shorter, but it will be a little bit shorter. You can make it a better way shorter way to express. And you can see every paragraph Chinese will be shorter, and this is the 2 line, this one is 1 line, and overall you can see when you come to the bottom here, this is some other information even in Chinese, right? Okay, we delete that. Oh, that's in letters, but the English still not finished yet, and the Chinese already finished to 21 days, the plan B. Okay, so that proves one thing. Chinese in writing is much shorter and easy to read. Why? Why? How come? Okay, one very simple comparison I can show you down here. You can see English based on the 26 letters, which is easy to remember, easy to write, but it's just more like a barcode. It's in the long way, horizontal way. But the Chinese symbol or words is just like a QR code, which has more information. Every single Chinese word is many Chinese words, I have to say, they're just like a picture. So the picture meaning definitely more than some bars. So you can see that's why the reason Chinese is shorter is because the one individual unit, it has more meaning inside and easy to recognize. And when you, in terms of reading and writing, the Chinese writing is more picture-like or like image-based. So it's once you get to know what does it mean, how it is made, and where it's come from, you will find it's much easier. And when you're writing, when it comes to done writing, if you blur in English, if you write fast, some like A, O, I, L, easily get mixed up. It will cause confusion. So go to the different word. But for Chinese, as most units are all individual, different shape. Even your handwriting is really bad, quite poor, people can still recognize this writing. So it's very easy to distinguish the symbols. Right. So another advantage is all the symbols is all like a square shaped. It's standard width and height. So it's basically you can fit in when you type in. It's much neater and easier, tidier. That's another advantage. That's another reason probably Chinese invented the printing 1,000 years ago. That's because every word is a unit based. It's like a modular. Later we will discuss this. What's the advantage of being a modular or a unit shaped words. Now, some people might argue Chinese words so much difficult to. You only need to remember. People often, when English, people often to argue say, in English you only need to remember 26 units, like letters. We only have 26, but Chinese you have to remember so many. Right? Okay. Right. It's 26 letters. It's easy to remember, but for the combination of the letters, it's so hard. And the English dictionary, which has, if I didn't remember wrong, is around over 140,000 words in the Oxford dictionaries. But for the Chinese words, it's not that much. The Chinese basic units, even in the dictionary, I don't think it's over the maximum would be 8,000. So the quantity, the level of the quantity is totally different. And also in Chinese, if you remember, you only we will talk about the amount of words, vocabulary you have to have later. So that's easier, faster to read, easier to read and fast to read and write. Because once you know how to write it, it's much easier. Even sometimes you don't know exactly the writing, you just roughly draw the picture and easy to remember as well. Okay, now come to speaking. Okay, speaking. People sometimes mocking Chinese pronunciation, Chinese talking. Actually, people don't realize how good the Chinese language and how advanced the Chinese language it is. First of all, every unit is only have one vowel inside, so it's the Chinese language. When you talk, it's just like a more chop 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 chop, evenly spread out. So it's very neat, very tidy layout for you to read it so easily. Once you learn the pronunciation, you won't get it wrong. You don't have so much intonation. If you want add on, it will be easier. And also, the sound is very short and easily to remember. For example, 好, 坏, very easy to pronounce. Because it's short, and of course, it will be speak faster. And the reason it can be speak faster, apart from it's short, and also because it's every sound you made is assistant or combined with a vowel inside. So we all know for all the consonant, it's quite hard to make a sound. The vowels really have a vibration from your throat to your mouth or where it's vibration to make the louder sound. So speaking faster is because you use many vowels involved. It will help you speak faster. So that's most Chinese speak faster than English. So before, earlier on, we said the reading and the writing, Chinese will be faster, and also speaking is also even faster. So that will give you as a tool, just when you use a mobile phone, which you want to use a slow phone or you want to use a faster phone. Of course, the choice is obvious, but language is complicated too. It's different from like a mobile phone. It's like a coding system, the program, the coding system. So it will take time to learn. It's complicated to learn. But eventually, ultimately, Chinese is a faster, efficient too. And also talking about speaking, people don't realize Chinese, when you speak in Chinese, you use much less energy to produce the sound. And in Chinese, for example, let's compare it. In Chinese, you don't have this th sound or the. You don't have to stick your tongue out to make it. This way. Many people you found when you speak the like English or like French and any other letter or any other many language we come across, you'll see the way they produce sound is all have some kind of difficulties. For example, roll your tongue like a perro. So when you speak in Spanish, you have the ro. So your tongue double roll the tongue to produce a sound to identify this meaning, which is it really useful, meaningful? No. If you really think, well, make your tongue do so much hard work, is that worth it? No. But Chinese can easily produce the sound. Chinese, and also Chinese, if you as a English speaker or any other European language speaker, so you probably will notice Chinese speak much lesser. People used to always say that's where the Chinese whisper come from, because when Chinese talk, more sounds like a whisper because they are so light. Even Chinese are loud. You can loud. Loud is the reason people complain that Chinese tourists are quite loud. Of course, because once they want to speak loud, if people want to speak loud, can be very loud because mainly vowel, every sound they are making is involved with a valve inside. So that's why it can be very loud. Constantly you hear the vowel oh, 好, 坏, 吧. So every sound can make very loud, very clearly. That's another efficiency. You can easily distinguish the sound. When you listen it, it's easily to distinguish the unique sound. And also the Chinese, when they you will see Chinese say, people say just when the Western people mocking Chinese speaker, so you will say it sounds like you're not speaking clearly, but for many Chinese, we know we are speaking very clearly, and the sound is so easily. Once you learn, you will see, you will know it's so easily to distinguish. So, and also Chinese very mainly the sound produced from the mouth, the tongue, and the lips, not involve too much from your lung, from your chest, like an English speaker or French speaker. Any other language, you have to use a lot of vibration from your chest in order to make a clear sound like it's quite difficult. It's hard. It's unnecessary. No, because we can use energy. Just if you imagine if you are yourself is a mobile phone, if you're speaking so much, when you're speaking, you're using so much energy. Of course, your battery will be gone flat faster than the Chinese mobile phone, Chinese people. Okay, but on the contrary, but the people might say, yeah, that's gives another disadvantage for the Chinese. That's not for the language. That's by the way, it is in terms of singing. You will see most Western people singing, they have the disadvantage because you keep produce the sound using chest. That's why the Western people can sing much louder and stronger, especially girls. Even you can see most Western female or women when they sing the song, it's so much powerful than the Chinese, which will totally beat Chinese. Any Chinese, most Chinese cannot produce such a big volume, strong voice because that's when they were born. They speak Chinese, they use less energy, they don't vibrate their use your stomach or your chest to produce the sound. The lung capacity strength, I guess, I haven't checked this statistic, but I guess Chinese lung must be weaker than the Western people in general. Not everyone. Some Chinese have a strong lung, like a swimmer, so they probably pretty good. Okay. Right, okay, that's a speaking. So Chinese is best in terms of writing, reading, speaking, and of course listening. And now come to the very important part, learning. As a tool, you have to learn how to use it. People found so difficult Chinese. You will never understand what I mean. Just like a picture, just drawing the picture, complaining that no, that's not true. That's because anything when you don't know, when you're not into it, you know it's difficult. Like I said before, once you get to know the words, how to write it, how the writing is come from, it's not that difficult. And also, if you look carefully, for example, look for this word. It's yes or is. So basically, you can see it's made of few units. On the top, there's like a square. Inside is with one line. So it's one unit. It can come very often. It's one unit. It's made of basically. It is made of line. One line going one stroke down, one stroke horizontal, then with a little bit of hook, then one stroke, a soft stroke to the left, one soft stroke to the right, and few dots, and the horizontal dots and the vertical dots. So that's it. Not that much complicated thing. You can either see no more than 26. So to things you have to learn to how to write a Chinese properly. It will be much easier. And once you know the Chinese is a unit, it's modular unit, you can use combination. And even inside this word, you can see, for example, this word, if you look on the left and the right combination, it's actually two words. But when you squeeze them together, it's become another word. But it's all simple, all easy. So you make you find learn less, but you will get more. So, or basically just like a Lego, you have like a standard pieces, a few different pieces. You can, based on understanding these pieces and know these pieces, you can make your own building complicated parts. So no, like, and compared to English, it's for the it's quite difficult, and the words coming from all over the place, and the root from Greek, from Rome, from Italy, from Spanish, from German, from French, from everywhere, and English is basically is quite difficult to learn. So now come to learning, and people often, oh right, okay, how the we have to learn so much. But for Chinese, I have to say, if you understand, if you learn or remember, understand around 3,000 Chinese words, you will be a very good Chinese speaker in general life. You can understand things, almost everything you can communicate without a problem. But people might say, oh gosh, 3,000 words. But okay, sounds quite a lot. But when you so people you don't even understand in English, do you know how many words you know in the general life? People at least gonna have a 5,000 words vocabulary, and also if you want to go to certain education, in order to read the paper, everything, normally the people's vocabulary is much more than Chinese vocabulary. You have to understand to be able to communicate, to be writing normally. So the vocabulary in general, every English person average, you're gonna have a 20 to 30,000 vocabularies. So Chinese only 3,000 or 2,000 or 5,000, you already become a very good, you can be a well-educated Chinese language user, or because remember the combination, Chinese unit. But English, the thing is, the disadvantage of English is so hard. There are many combinations as well, but it was so much complicated, duplicated words still exist, not being organized. The reason Chinese, the vocabulary is short, because since a few hundred years ago, the government, probably from 1,000 years ago, there's a Qing Emperor, basically the emperor, he unified all the language. China was just like Europe. Every country has different language, different writing. He said, no, cut it. We're all doing one language. So which started the development of Chinese. So one writing, one different. And since then, almost all the dynasty, and in certain time, they all do kind of like a tidy up of the language, changing, remove some words from the dictionary, from the use, and add some more. And even when the Republic of China established in 1949, it was also there's a reform. So that's why the Chinese called simplified Chinese. Now the Chinese in the world most used is simplified Chinese, and they add some words and make the words much easier to read and to write, and remove this kind of thing, tidy up. It's gonna be the government, but in the Western country, people just like the language, go with the flow. Any words no, any sushi, if you know there's called sushi, you just put in the dictionary. If you know there's a shao mai, you put a shao mai in dictionary. You just spelling, so you keep adding on. The dictionary getting fatter and fatter and bigger and bigger. Give you a few examples. For example, if you think, let's say, very common thing, let's say pig, right? Okay, pig is animal, but in Chinese also pig means 猪, but of course, okay, if you say pig's meat, what you call pig's meat? It's called pork, right? Okay, pork in Chinese we call pig meat. So basically, just like a pig, no, oh, 猪肉, yeah, sorry, I was speaking English, right? Okay, basically it's called 猪肉. That's like a pig meat. These two units together. So if you learn the pig, 猪, you know, that's for all the animals, the 猪 looks like a pig-like, and the meat is肉, all the meat, human meat and the goat meat and the horse meat, everything is all called meat. You put together called pig meat. You don't have the word called pork. And then another pig called swan flu. and the beef, and the cow and the bull is totally different. If you say cow and the bull, so do you know they are very look like, very similar? But in Chinese, we all call it new. That's different new. Nai new was a milky new, milky cow, or just like a new. We don't know the words, but basically, one word is a category. This kind of animal is called category. In this category, it's called one word. You don't have confusions with other beef, pork, and even the sheep, goat, lamb, all different. It takes too much to learn unnecessarily because we only want to know this piece of meat is from goat or from sheep. Why do we have to know it's a lamb, it's a mutton? It's totally irrelevant. You can't, if you learn the mutton, if you learn the lamb, you don't know what's called a sheep, you don't know goat, no link. But in Chinese, there's one word like a yang. That means this kind of animal you know. So once you're into it, you know it will be much easier. That's a word. Now that was talk a bit too long. Now let's come to the grammar. Grammar, as I said, has been Chinese has been tidied up by the government effortless many generations. It's much easier and make more sense. For example, let's say in English or even Spanish, which is a more complicated grammar, and it's same as many French, German, they're all the same. If you say be, okay, let's say if you want to say I'm somebody, I am in express a status of a certain thing or certain person, so it will cause. So in English, for example, you say there's is, are, and the were, is, are, am, was, or, have been. So many in Chinese is only one word. It's always this one. 是, it is. Once you know 是, you mean someone is in certain status or someone's name, who you are or what are you doing or something. You just use a 是. It's one word. So it's one word, be it how many is, was, are, were, or you use a different one. But, okay, people say, okay, we do need a tense. If we don't need a tense and a plural, do you need a plural? For example, say, he is a, there is, for example, there is an apple. There are 5 apples. Okay. Do you really have to change the is and the are? For example, let's say there is 1 apple. There is 5 apples. No, you don't have to say in Chinese, and also from the nouns, you don't have plural as well. You don't have to worry about it. All the apple is apple for everything. How many apples? Just say how many apples. 2 apples. No, 2 apples. Just 2个苹果. Yeah, 2 apple. No plural, and no this imperative change like the different I, O, U, we, are, no such change. The verbs are all the same. So it's much easier. And the tense, okay, the people say, okay, in Chinese, how do you express the tense? Okay, because of modular. So you just say, for example, you say, I am a boy, but I was a girl. Right, okay, just say, 我是男孩. That means I'm a boy. 我是女孩. But it's same, but how can you say I used to be a girl? So I will used to say, you plus one more, so in the past, you say, 我过去是个, or in another word, 我曾经 used to be, or I 曾经是个女孩. That's it. So you just add a little bit on to make the tense complete. And you don't have to change so much verbs. You just remember just like a past. I was, for example, in English, let's totally change to English. Say, I am a boy. Let's say, I am a boy. I am a girl in the past, or I am a girl 2 years ago. Still makes sense. So if you think, do you really need the tense? No, we don't. This tense changing the verbs, and even in many languages, the verbs is regular, irregular. So much confusion. Once you learn, and also that another thing is cause this kind of language tools cause a huge big amount of disadvantage to the people. They couldn't access a good education. That's why in the UK and the Western countries, the social classes are divided so much because divided by the education. If you don't go to the education, once you open your mouth by the vocabulary you use, so people will easily distinguish to tell, okay, you haven't been to a good school, you couldn't talk using the different word from what I use. So the language has become a social class, the symbol or the label. So once you open mouth, they know what you look like. You want to talk a Porsche, or you just talk like a Scully. So okay, that's it. So that's from based on all of this. What I'm saying is Chinese is getting more and more popular, and with China is expanding its business, communicated with the whole world, and play a more important role in terms of economically, politically, and more and more Chinese come out of China mixed with any other culture people, and I think eventually people will find Chinese will peacefully and naturally become one of the most popular language in the world and the most popular useful tools in language in language in terms of language. It will, so you don't miss out and start now, start to learn Chinese. If you want, if you use, it will definitely help you, or maybe encourage your children to learn. It will definitely benefit them a lot, and they will find will be so much easier to learn once you're into it, and you will get a much higher level learning Chinese than comparing to any other language in the same amount of time and efforts. Okay, thanks for listening. I hope you start learning Chinese. 再见，拜拜。